The July 13th attempted assassination of Donald Trump was certainly historic. It put the 45th and soon to be 47th president in company with Presidents Teddy Roosevelt, Gerald Ford, and Ronald Reagan. All of them escaped fatal bullets. 61 years ago, our 35th president was not as fortunate. John F. Kennedy fell in Dallas, November 22nd, 1963. And many of us who are old enough to remember that tragic day never thought 6 decades later that many of the questions about the JFK assassination would still go unanswered. Well, here to share his thoughts is James DiEugenio. He's the co-author of the JFK Assassination Chokeholds that inescapably prove there was a conspiracy. James, in Donald Trump's first term, he pledged to declassify JFK assassination documents and release the information to the public. So why have we still not learned the truth here? What's going on?
That's a very good question. And that's one of the things the book is about, okay, the JFK Assassination Chokeholds. It's about why these final documents on the JFK case have not been fully disclosed to the American public. As you just said, President Trump actually tweeted about this about a week or 10 days before they were supposed to be released. They were mandated by law to be released October in 2017. On the last day, literally on the last day that they were going to be released, the FBI and the CIA came in, and Trump mentioned it was Mike Pompeo from the CIA, all right? And they essentially gave him the blood on your hands speech, that if you release these, you're going to expose this agent in Morocco, okay, and he's likely going to be killed, and we're going to blame it on you, all right? And so he delayed, and then he delayed a second time, all right? And the second time was a 3-year delay, which passed over into Biden. And there were still about 4,000 documents that were supposed to be released. And what Biden did, I believe, is even worse than what Trump did. Trump delayed the release. Biden changed the whole release pattern. If Trump keeps his promise this time, and I'm sure you're aware that he said this on the Joe Rogan show, okay, and the Andrew Napolitano show, that this time around he really is going to declassify the documents. It's going to be pretty tough not to do with Bobby Kennedy and his cabinet.
I know we could spend an hour here, but we don't have that much time. So give us the Cliff Notes version of your book. What are some of these chokeholds that you believe prove there was a conspiracy?
All right. The reason the book is titled that is we chose about 10 areas which there is no benign explanation for. Very, very difficult to explain in a kind of anodyne kind of a way. One is that cannot be pictures of JFK's brain in the National Archives or the illustrations. All right. And we prove that in about 3 different lines of evidence. All right. And if it's not JFK's brain, and it almost surely is not, you have to ask the question, why did somebody else have to take these pictures? And why did they have to do this, this masquerade? All right. I believe it's because there was too much damage to Kennedy's brain in the first place. And that's why they did this little charade. Okay, that's one point. Another point is one of my co-authors, Matt Crumpton, wrote an essay about, and I've never seen this many before. He found 17 different impersonations of Oswald prior to the Kennedy assassination. Most people think that there were 5 or 6 or something like that. Okay, well, he found 17 different impersonations going right up to like a day or two before the actual assassination. All right. Then, of course, we talk about CE 399, commonly called the magic bullet, which somehow, some way, arrived in Washington at about 9:20 that night of the assassination, certified by a transfer from the Secret Service to the FBI, when in fact, according to the FBI lab notes, it was already there at 7:30. the lab technician, Robert Frazier, wrote down stretcher bullet arrives at 7:30.
Was
So
that the bullet? Was that the bullet that Agent Paul Landis came forward with, disclosing in
yeah,
2023 that he found a bullet and put it on the gurney?
ostensibly that's supposed to be it. But Landis's bullet, I believe, has to be different from CE 399 because CE 399 was supposed to have been found inside Parkland Hospital on another gurney, a different gurney. So here, see, this is the problem you have with this case. There's simply too many bullets, okay, to be accounted for. All
Okay, so
right.
who do you think, James, was behind the assassination of JFK, and why?
Well, my informed speculation would be that it was a kind of triangular conspiracy between the CIA, the Cuban exiles, and then they brought in the mob via Jack Ruby to polish off Oswald when Oswald actually survived, when in fact he was supposed to be shot outside the Texas theater. And I believe the reasons for this were that Kennedy's failure to invade Cuba and a lot of the reforms that he was trying to make in the foreign policy realm,
How about
which were,
Vietnam?
which were, and well, that's another big one. The big is huge. Okay, so and if you note, all of these things that JFK was trying to do were all changed abruptly once that he was dead in a matter of weeks, maybe a matter of months, and they essentially reverted to a much more, let's say, militant, okay, and confrontational kind of attitude, all right, in places like the Middle East and places, well, Vietnam, you mentioned a very good point. Kennedy was getting the advisors out at the time of his death.
61 years after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, the nation still awaits the truth. James DiEugenio, co-author of the JFK Assassination Chokeholds that inescapably proved there was a conspiracy. Thank you for sharing your time and insights with us. We appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you also.